The Elder Scrolls 3 and Elder Scrolls 4 leveling systems may seem complex, but I'm here to tell you they really aren't. In today's video, I'm going to walk you guys through the basics of a leveling system in Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind and Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. What's up everyone, it's Jake-nificent. If this is your first time on my channel, then welcome. I try to upload content like this video, walkthroughs, or other content 2 or 3 times every week. If you're a returning viewer, then welcome back to my channel. Before we get into today's content, if you've ever wanted to repair an item with an armorer's hammer, but missed the item and hit yourself instead, then hit that like button with the armorer's hammer and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of my gaming content. So why do both games in one video? Well, these two games have basically the same leveling system, with the only difference being that Morrowind has 3 skill categories and Oblivion has 2 skill categories. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, I'll be getting to that in a minute. I'll start with a brief overview of skills and attributes, which if you would like to skip, head to the time shown on screen. To start out, we have attributes and we have skills. Attributes dictate character traits, like how much you can carry or how fast you can run, or whether or not you're charming enough to captivate Tamriel's unwashed masses.
That's just stupid.
Skills are governed by these attributes. Skills like speechcraft impact how you interact with the world. Your weapon skills will determine how much damage you do with certain weapons, and your armor skills will influence your armor rating when you're wearing certain armors. That said, each game does have their own twist on this. For example, in Morrowind, most skills are pass or fail. They determine whether you succeed in casting its spells and how easily you can miss a mud crab with a knife. By comparison, in Oblivion, they determine how well you can perform certain tasks. For example, some spells are only castable at a certain level. You may not be able to pirouette with your long blade until your blade skill's at a certain level, but there's no pass or fail criteria with most skills. Therefore, you're not really in danger of missing a mud crab. On level up, you can select 3 attributes to power up. If you've ever played one of these titles before, you may have noticed in the past a +2, +3, or +4, maybe even a +5 if you're lucky enough, next to those attributes you see on your level up screen, allowing you to increase that attribute by a certain amount. But how does this work? When you level up a skill, you get credit toward an attribute point you can spend on level up. For example, if you choose athletics, which is governed by speed, you get credit towards a speed attribute point. If you level up athletics 10 times, then you'd get 5 attribute points for speed. However, you don't only need to do one skill. You could level multiple skills with the same governing attribute. For instance, in Morrowind, you could level the skills Short Blade and Unarmored for a total of 10 points to get 10 levels in speed governed skills, and you would still get that +5 bonus to speed on level up. This said, do note that any skill levels fewer than a net of 10 will give you a +4 or lower bonus. Now, because you can put attribute points into 3 different skills per level, you're going to need to use this method 3 separate times for 3 different attributes. This will massively boost the speed at which you can increase your attributes, helping you get to that end game status a lot sooner. With the mechanics of skills and attributes out of the way, I'm now going to move on to leveling strategies so you can maximize this effect and get to that end game sooner. And if you're already comfortable with some of these ideas, go ahead and skip to the time shown on screen. I'll start with Morrowind, as that's the game that was released first, and the one I'm currently doing a walkthrough of. So advancements in your major and minor skills will contribute to your level up requirements, making them what I would call a level counting skill, and levels in your miscellaneous skills do not, which makes them what I would call non-level counting skills. Therefore, you can get as many levels per character as you want in the miscellaneous skills without having to worry about going from level 1 to 2, or level 2 to 3, 3 to 4, so on down the line. In Oblivion, though, only the advancement in major skills will contribute to your level up requirements, which will be your level counting skills. The minor skills don't do anything towards your character level other than contribute to your attribute point gain. So your minor skills in this case are your non-level counting skills. You're probably thinking about now, well, this is all great, Jake-nificent, but how do I get my delicious +5 bonuses? Well, you need to get 10 levels into skills governed by whatever attribute you want your +5 bonuses on, but you're going to have to do that 3 separate times. So for instance, if you followed my most recent walkthrough of Morrowind, you'll remember that our first level we chose to increase our strength, our speed, and our endurance by leveling up our acrobatics skill for strength, the unarmored and short blade skills for speed, and the medium armor and spear skills for endurance. This played to our advantage at acrobatics, short blade, and medium armor, were all of those miscellaneous skills that do not count towards our overall level, so we are only leveling up from the unarmored and spear skills. And if you're playing Oblivion, and your skill distribution looks like this, then you probably would want to go with 5 points into armor and heavy armor for a total of 10 points towards your endurance, 10 points into acrobatics for speed, and 10 points into blade for strength, which would then give you the level up because that blade skill is your major skill. The other skills I just mentioned are not in the major skill, so you're not going to have to worry about those counting towards your level up requirement. Only the 10 points in blade will count towards your level up. Ideally, you'd choose a blend of skills that will be feasible to level while you run around saving the helpless people of Tamriel. So a blend of weapons, armor, and skills like my own personal favorite acrobatics make for a really good choice early on. A personal strategy of mine is to put the skills I enjoy the most in my non-level counting skills so I can use them a little bit more freely when I become higher level and everything slows down. I prefer heavy armor and blades because I tend to play a warrior, so typically I make sure these are not in my level counting skills. This will give me more control over how I level because I will not be starting my level up process until I make the decision to use abilities in my major skill lines. Mostly, I don't like using those skills, so I have to force myself to use them. I don't particularly like taking a short blade and just like stabbing in a mud crab as much as I can. I'm a scientist by training as well, so your boy is all about repeatability. So which attributes would be best to focus on first? Which I'm glad you're asking or thinking about that because turns out I have a methodology for that as well. I would recommend starting with speed, strength, and endurance first, not necessarily in that order, because these drastically increase your playability. The primary benefit of doing so is as follows. Strength will give you primarily an increase in your carry weight. Speed will make it easier to travel over land and increase your attack speed, which this is more critical in Morrowind because of the lack of fast travel and the higher quote-unquote base difficulty. Your endurance attribute controls your health gain per level. So the sooner you max your endurance, the sooner you will have an absolutely thick health pool. And if you max this attribute early on, you'll have more health at level 50 than someone who waited to start leveling this until about level 20. So ideally, you get this one tackled and out of the way first. Of these, I would argue that endurance is the most important because of its effect on your hit point count. Of all of my Elder Scrolls playthrough, the absolute hardest playthroughs I have had were the ones where I waited to level endurance until midway through or last. Every time I want to have an easier Elder Scrolls playthrough, I will start leveling endurance first. One way to boost this effect is to select endurance as a favorite attribute when you create your character, so you'll get an immediate buff to that attribute. And if you're playing Morrowind, I would also recommend considering speed as a favorite attribute so that you can run a little bit faster when you start the game. After you've tackled these three attributes, the next ones to level up are totally up to you, and it's going to depend on what class you like to play. So if you like to play a mage, then you might want to look at leveling your intelligence and your willpower. If you're playing a thief, you might want to consider leveling your personality to give you a better chance to avoid conflict. And if you like to play a warrior like me, I know you like to hit stuff, so maybe you want to try to level that agility so you can dodge the next blow to the head. If I would have known this, I probably could have avoided some brain damage, let me tell you. All this may sound really complicated, so let me just add as a reminder that messing up during this process is not a big deal. You have a lot of levels you can recover on. This is just going to make the first few levels of the game a little bit easier so you don't struggle quite as much. I'm also going to link the Morrowind and Oblivion wikis in the description to help you guys find additional information about this system because it might be easier for you guys to read about it. And if you have any different way of leveling your characters, or you prefer different attributes, or you have a favorite type of class you'd like to play, maybe a favorite weapon, go ahead and throw it in the comments and let me know. I'm always interested to see what people are doing with their characters and how they're playing these games differently. So remember, if you ever wanted to repair an item with an armorer's hammer, but you missed that item and hit yourself instead, hit the like button with the armorer's hammer and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of my gaming content. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you all have a great day.